Hey, nice picture again. You know, it's Smile Jamaica, folks, but we have to touch on some really tough and rough topics from time to time. So after the recent slaughter of a 31-year-old mother and her four daughters, aged 1 to 15, well, almost two, one, I think, a year and 11 months, revisiting the death penalty is now a topic of discussion. But opinions are split. Some saying it is well-deserved, others saying we don't have the right to take the life despite the crime. I said that. So let's talk a bit, what would be the reinstatement of this act moving forward? Does the punishment fit the crime? I'm not certain of reinstatement because as far as I know, it's still on the books. Attorney at law Josemar Belnavis is here to answer a few pressing questions as best as he can. Good morning, sir. Welcome to Smile Jamaica. How are you?
Morning. I'm good. How are you?
Can't complain. Give thanks and thanks for asking. Let me start there. The death penalty is still on the books, right?
Yes, it is. It is still on the books in Jamaica. In fact, there is a misconception that it was actually removed from our laws in the Pratt and Morgan case and other similar cases. But with the passing of the Charter of Rights and Fundamental Freedoms in 2011, it actually crystallized the death penalty in Jamaica in that inhumane and or cruel treatment cannot be extracted from a sentence of death penalty as an automatic. So it is still on our books. It's still a sentence provided for under Offenses Against the Persons Act, and it's still a sentence that can be implemented in Jamaica.
All right, Josemar, so the DPP has said she might be asking for the death penalty. We've read about many murders, and I've never seen that before. Is it just because of it's 5 people killed one time? What's the reason behind this? I don't know if you could, I'm not asking you to think for the DPP, but is it just for murder you could be given a death penalty, or it has to be some horrible, horrific happening like what happened today?
So for a broad definition of sentences that can be passed, the imposition of a death penalty, we're looking at certain rare cases. It involves murder, and it involves what people may refer to broadly as capital murder. That is murder in the murder of a constable, a police officer, perhaps murder in the circumstances of committing another offense, or murder of one or more persons in the same factual scenario. So we're looking, the Privy Council defined the imposition of death penalty should only be done in the rarest of rare cases. Those are cases, or an American phrase, that would shock the conscience of any individual or any citizen. So those are the cases that would be, the court would look and say, look, this is a case that we can definitely implement the death penalty.
One of the things I was asking this morning, Josemar, is I know in the U.S. There's death by lethal injection. Yeah. So we have the death penalty. Is it specific to hanging? And does it allow for other types of death to take place?
As far as I'm aware, our laws provide for death by way of hanging. That has been the law in Jamaica from our colonial times. We have not advanced upon the different methodologies that death can be imposed as a sentence in Jamaica. So to answer your question shortly, hanging is the methodology. As a matter of fact, the last hanging took place in Jamaica, as most people know, in 1988, and a death has not been carried out by the state since then.
You explained how the death penalty can come about. I can remember a 9-year-old autistic boy, his throat was cut. That could be a death penalty case?
Every case turns on its facts, Neville, and it's a very good question. The Privy Council had defined as a criteria for the imposition of a death penalty being the rarest of rare cases. Now, that may differ depending on the different circumstances. I can recall a particular case where 2 individuals were murdered in their sleep, and the court held that it was not a case that was the rarest of rare. So it may fluctuate depending on the particular circumstances. To answer your question specifically, it will depending on the surrounding facts. Yes, the murder of an autistic child who may be helpless may be a case where the death penalty can be argued successfully by the state, But ultimately, sentence and the imposition of sentence is a matter properly for a judge looking at the broad set of facts in the matter.
Yeah, a lot of attorneys have weighed in, some Queen's counsels as well, since this was said. One of the things, Josemar, they're saying is, it's just hype. It's just something to, feed the public, because that's what they feel the public would like, because at the end of the day, the Privy Council is going to possibly overrule it. Is there any merit in those comments?
Well, I would always accept the reasoning of senior counsel, especially Queen's counsel in the matter. But as it relates to being overruled, what the Charter of Fundamental Rights cured, as some people would argue, is the rulings that preceded it. The ruling of Pratt and Morgan in another case called Neville Lewis versus the Attorney General, which set out that a person who is on death row for 5 years or more, there is a presumption that it becomes inhumane, cruel, and degrading treatment, which is in breach of the Constitution. Now, the Constitution was amended in 2011 with the passing of the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms. And there's a section under the new Charter which states that the length of time can no longer be used as a reason to say that it is inhumane, cruel, or degrading treatment.
Okay.
I think the posture by many senior attorneys in that it is about hype may flow into the mechanisms that we employ. To cast a sentence of death on an individual has not been done in Jamaica for over 30 years. And there's a reason for that. We have international lobby groups. There is a charter of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. There are a number of international agencies that may have political and ties to the government, and lobby groups have lobbied against it aggressively. So for a state to take that step, they may be causing some amount of discomfort to international partners that may affect us.
Yeah.
So it is more from that angle as opposed to saying that it cannot be done and it may be overturned. Because if you think about it, if the imposition of death is made to a particular individual and carried out, then it can't be reversed, which is one of the arguments against the death penalty. It's a final imposition. And another argument against it is that we operate in a system that may be a bit imperfect.
So that's what I was going to ask you, Josemar. I'm sorry. So I was going to say, they say the DPP has indicated that she will be seeking it, but at our level, at sentencing, can the judge here refuse that?
Yes, the judge has a discretion. The judge has a discretion to impose a life sentence as opposed to a sentence as it relates to death. It all turns on the certain facts of the case and the submissions made by the respective parties. I think I'm stuck.
Yep.
No, we're seeing you.
You're all right.
You hearing me?
Yeah, man.
Yes, we're hearing
you. Final question from me, Josemar. Are you hearing us? Seems like he's not hearing us.
But some very salient...
he explained beautifully. My final question would be, first, if he was surprised that the DPP has asked for the death penalty. And second, he said the discretion of the judge. What if it is a jury trial? Are you back with us, Josemar?
Yes, I am. I'm hearing you.
All right. Me? So I'm hearing you now. So my final question is a double-barrel one. Were you surprised that the DPP asked for the death penalty or will ask for it? And if it's a jury trial, is it the jury who decides whether he should get the death penalty or not? Or is it still the judge? As you said, the judge has discretion.
Well, to answer the first part of the question, I was not shocked. I could say that I was a tad surprised, but I wouldn't say I'm shocked. The nature of the offense, as we understand it, and we have to understand at this stage, it is an accusation against the accused. Yeah. There is reports that he may have given some form of confession, which is important, and would have perhaps, been important in the DPP's decision. I wouldn't say I'm shocked. The nature of the offense is one that is particularly egregious and heinous in my view. To answer the second aspect of your question, sentence is a matter for the judge. So in any criminal trial, whether by trial by jury or trial by judge alone, the matter of sentencing is reserved for the judge. It is not for the jury, which is why in jury cases, the jury renders a verdict, say guilty or not guilty, or they're unable to arrive at a decision. And then the matter is then passed to the judge to implement sentence. The case that deals with that is Hines and the Queen, which is looking at separation of powers. And that case established in Jamaican law that the matter of sentencing and the passing of sentence is one for the judge alone.
Excellent.
Excellently explained. Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, look after yourself and your family. God bless you, all right?
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. Have a good day.
Yeah, man, thank you. Attorney at law, Josemar Belnavis.